Yeah.
Good evening, everybody who's joined us. Uh, we are very happy to have architect Murli Murugan with us today on a very interesting topic on the interpretations of the past and tradition and how it unfolds in the present. I think this is a topic we are looking forward to hear. This is part of a larger series that the faculty at Savita College of Architecture have organized. All the faculty are present. Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi, Architect Priyanka, Architect Sandhya, Vigna Lakshmi, and Sri Venkatesh, all are present here. And all the students, as well as we have, I think, company of architects from Madurai. I can see Delhi, a few from Calcutta, our friends, and then from Pondicherry also. So we're happy to have a large group with us today at a very short notice. And quite a few are still joining in, so let them join. And it's recorded, so if someone missed the early parts, they can always look at it again. So today's topic is, this is part of a much larger series where there are architects from around the world who have joined us. And this presentation of Architect Murli will be also available on our YouTube channel for access for all schools and anyone who's interested. Yeah. I will invite Architect Priyanka to now introduce our guest for the evening. And then at the end of the presentation of Architect Murli's presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please start.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, I take immense pleasure in introducing our speaker for today, Architect Murli Murugan, the Principal Architect of Murli Architects Chennai, who is going to talk to us about exploring contemporary architecture through traditional values. Murli Architects have been known to create a versatile body of work ranging from architecture and interiors of various typologies, such as residences, corporate offices, institutional, retail, and hospitality buildings. Their distinct style of residential architecture interprets traditional architecture, revamping it into our contemporary world by synthesizing the past and the future with the present. The firm explores design solutions that are contextual, creating unique typologies of space that revolutionize the way they are experienced. And this manifests essence of the firm's design philosophy. Architect Murli Murugan set up the firm in the year 1990. He graduated his bachelor's from School of Architecture and Planning, Anna University, and his master's at McGill University, Canada. He has dedicated 30 years of his career on deliberating through his design philosophy that focuses on uniting people through architecture. The firm has been awarded the Excellence in Residential Design in the year 2015, presented by the chief guest, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Dr. K. S. Rosaiya, at the Kattumanathoral Awards. The firm also won at the national level for excellence in architecture under the commercial category of Indian Institute of Architects in the year 2016 for the project Highway Restaurant for Manoj Bhavan. They won the Indian Institute of Interior Designers Zonal Award in the year 2018 for the design of Hearing Aid Center at Chennai. Architect Murli was selected by the Indian Institute of Architects as the honorable member for services rendered for the Indian Institute of Architects Tamil Nadu chapter in the year of 2016. The Millennial Residence was recognized at a national level. One of the most prestigious projects currently handled by the firm is the memorial for late former Chief Minister Selvi Dr. Jayalalitha, which has won the All India Design Competition conducted by Tamil Nadu government. Besides his practice, he has also served as a visiting faculty at some of the leading institutions in Tamil Nadu, like the School of Architecture and Planning, Anna University, Miyasi Academy of Architecture, Satyabama University, SRM University, Tyagaraja College of Engineering, and many others. He has written more than 60 articles in the Hindu newspaper regarding architecture and interiors. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your control panel. I'll bring them up for questions at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming architect Murli. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Priya, for the fine introduction. Thank you. First of all, let me thank Professor Durganandan sir and Jyoti ma'am and the other senior faculty members of Savita Institute for the kind invite. And I'm happy to be here to share my thoughts on the contemporary architecture, exploring through the traditional knowledge and wisdom. So I'm going to talk about that. Before that, I wanted to share certain personal thoughts about how I got interested in this line of things. Sometime back, my practice can be divided into two parts. The first part is, I ran a very large commercial practice for about 15-20 years. And we were doing large scale projects like Coimbatore bus stand and nearly 20-30 hospitals and, MRTs and all that. But during the time, the architecture in Chennai, I would say it was not very well developed. Our focus was in residential building to some extent, but focus was more on large scale projects. But while doing the residential projects, I realized my passion is more towards building homes and building institutions than on the large scale projects. So somehow I decided to close my large commercial practice and then open up a new practice with only one architect working with me, but exploring how the Japanese are exploring their tradition and how they are trying to interpret tradition through the contemporary works. I would say the Sri Lankans also share a similar thing. Great architects like Toshi, Korea, they were all instrumental in helping me to know more about it. Okay. So when I was doing the large commercial projects, I had a chance to work for a Jain family, which has got 4 brothers, and the total household number was about 30 people, 35 people. And I had a presentation to be done with them about the living room the next day. So I browsed the net. I collected a lot of living rooms from all over the globe. Next day, I thought I've done a good research. I was about to present to them, and they saw the slides, didn't complain. But then they asked me, Murli sir, these are all beautiful, but we don't live like this. He said, whenever there is a Jain person comes from North India, the house was located in Chengalpattu. So we will invite all the Jains living in and around Chengalpattu. So everybody comes together and we all sit on the floor. We don't sit in the sofas that way you have shown. So we like to sit on the floor, chat for a long time. Nearly 30-40 of them, men will be around and ladies will be in the ladies area. And lunchtime, each of us are given a plate. And we will sit in the floor and eat it in the living room itself. We don't go to separate area like dining room and all that. Whatever you showed, that's not applicable to us. And in kitchen, my mother, elderly mother, who is about 80, and my aunt, who is about 70, 75, they sit on the floor and make the chapatis. So whatever you have done is very Western, and it does not reflect our lifestyle. At the same time, it really stuck a chord in me, and I realized I'm not doing architecture related to this land. I was, trying to emulate the architecture of the West, and I was a representative of the Western world. Although Western architecture really, sculptural, beautiful, and so many plus points about it. But then when it comes to our culture, I felt I had much to learn. So during the same time, I had projects from Kanyakumari. I had people, who moved from Andhra to Chennai. We were doing projects for them. But finally, everything boiled down to 4-bedroom. And the 4-bedroom, how do you convert the 4-bedroom requirement into some physical squares, rectangles? But then I realized the squares that I made for the Kanyakumari family and the squares I made for the Andhra couple who are settled here, Andhra family, similarly the one from Calcutta in Chennai, are almost same. I'm not, representing their culture. I'm sure the person family from Calcutta, they would have their own inherent qualities, and the way they conduct puja celebrations and the lifestyle will be a lot different than the person from Kanyakumari. So that really made me feel I'm not doing good architecture. I'm rather producing or reproducing architecture of the West. So I hated myself. I decided to close. I wanted to learn from the first principles. Take one house, really know the family well, chat with them for 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 hours, really become part of the family, and then try to understand and express through architecture. So I made a start about 15, 17 years back, and I'm going to share that journey here with you all. Okay, thank you. I'll start my presentation. So can you see the PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So we are trying to explore the traditional architecture. First of all, I had an empty mind. I was not very clear. I had a lot of emptiness in me when I started my practice about 18 years back. After I closed my commercial practice. So in a house, it's always relating to bedrooms, and then there is no mention about tata, party, grandpa, grandma, or the widowed mother-in-law who is staying with them. There's what happens to the child who is 7 years or 10 years. Why the relatives who were used to come to the houses earlier in the vacation, summer vacation, the cousins who will come and stay for 10 days, 20 days, they are not coming anymore. So when somebody comes from the native place, they will say, somebody will proudly say, my mother came from Vilupuram, and she left the next day. She is not comfortable staying in this house. So, and they have so many things in the native place, so they rushed back. I used to wonder, somebody who has traveled all the way from Madurai to Chennai must have taken a lot of time planning. What the things the grandson, granddaughter will like, what to carry, and the speeds that they made, the carams they made, everything painstakingly. They worked for 10 to 15 days to bring everything to Chennai. And why would they leave after 1 or 2 days? So there must be something wrong in the way we were planning. Same way the child gets a bedroom. I was wondering what the child will do when it goes into the room. 7-year-old child getting a separate room, and what it will do. Similarly, a teenage boy or a girl going to the private rooms, and what happens. So I felt there has to be some better way. This problem could have been solved. For example, the child becomes lonely because it has given a separate room. Same with the elders, they were feeling lonely because they were not getting connected to the family. So how they have solved these problems traditionally? This was my, really a bothering question. So we wanted to learn how they have done it earlier. Now, this picture is a typical courtyard in the middle of a South Indian house. Many of our friends from other parts, this is how our earlier ancestral homes look like. And even any utility work, let's say she is doing something with that rural, trying to powder it. When she is working, she has got an eye on the children who are playing there. And she also has the mother-in-law behind. There is a talk going on, and she is facing the main door. So at any given point of time, the mother is in the control of the whole house. So she is always conscious. She knows everything, whatever is happening. So this way, nobody is feeling lonely. So everybody is getting connected. And this is another fine picture wherein you see the comfortably they are seated in the thinnai in the front side, in the road side, and having a feel of what is happening inside. The man can really sense the son, elder son is about to go to office to work, or the grandchildren are about to get ready and then go to school. Everything he can hear, he can monitor. When they are going, he is there to wish them well. Same way, they are also wishing grandpa, or the son is wishing appa, happy to have a good day. Mom also getting connected to the husband. She's also connected to the neighbor or people in the street. But at the same time, they are having a good time. So they are not feeling lonely. So the simple picture shows how people in villages, how people in the ancient or traditional time, they were having a better life. Yeah. This is another picture where you can see if around 10 o'clock in the morning, say everybody goes to work, but people who are sitting at home, they can have a jolly good time, drop into the neighbor's house, walk in the street, and there will be thinnais all over. So they can go to any thinnai and start, having a chat. Many people will come and join. At the same time, the information about the small neighborhood, it's exchanged, and each other family problems get talked about. At the same time, offering help to the female folks who are inside. So again, celebrations is not very personalized. It's always shared with the street. So the neighbor kids, whoever is not having, also can come and participate. So the whole street is connected, and right from the young ones to the eldest one, there is always continuous sharing to this thinnai kind of an arrangement. Payal, we can call it in English, but in Tamil we say it. Same way, a kid who is talented can perform, and people can sit around and really watch. So the elders can watch, the kids can watch, and somebody else can come and participate. Imagine a house from evening 6 o'clock to night 9 o'clock filled with a lot of activities. Even the weekends, these courts are a good place for others, to every child to come and participate. There is no discrimination. The house was very open. So now today's houses are very, very introverted, and there is a door, you have to knock the door and somebody opens, and they want to find out why you have knocked the door. So there is always a control. In the earlier times, that was not there. But when people lived in, closed manner, the vehicle was little, pushed away. The bullock carts were the ones. The bullock carts are always kept in the rear. The front side is for people and nature. So every house will have a tree in front of it, so people can come sit around it in the evenings, read paper. So a lot of exchange was going on, a lot of support and help was also happening. Yeah.
Presentation slide more.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So you're calling and saying. They told.
Yeah, the slides have not moved. So
I see. I don't know why. 1 minute. Okay, I'll look back at that. Can you not see it? No.
In
So the first slide.
the slide will have to be said from beginning, and then you have to press enable editing there on your screen on top.
Okay.
Press enable editing.
Enable 1 minute. Something I will enable editing.
And then go to
Enable editing. Starting enable editing.
Okay.
on top.
Okay. Yeah.
And then go to slide review, and it will start.
Okay.
Go to slideshow. It will start.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So this first slide was seen. Was this seen? No. Sir?
No, this was not seen.
Okay.
This is not seen.
Sorry, and thank you for helping me. So I was talking about the elders' role in the any house in the contemporary ones, and also about the children in the contemporary homes, and the disconnect between elders and the father, mother, and the child's disconnect between different age groups. So we feel everybody is in their own world. So they are not, each of them are not getting connected. They are given rooms. So they are asked to go to the rooms, and when they want to eat, they can come to one room called dining. Whenever they want to socialize, that's not called socialize. They will come watching television, that's not socializing. So there is a living room. So the components of the house is so restrictive. So hardly any connections happening within the house. So I was talking about this traditional courtyard house. This is the courtyard house, which you can see in many parts of Tamil Nadu. You can see it in Chengalpattu, you can see it in Madurai, Tiruchi, Nagarkoil, Kanyakumari. So this is the standard typology which has been there for last, I would say 300, 400, 500 years. So the central courtyard is the connector, and the basic rooms are arranged around it. So the ma'am who is working, the mother who is working in the court doing a service court, so she can have an eye on everything happening around her. The child which is playing, children who are playing, they are not alone. They are part of this. So they are part of this, and she can have an eye on this. So they are not hiding in any room. Same with the grandma or the mother-in-law, she is also participating in the household work, and the daughter-in-law, mother-in-law can get connected. Same with mother-in-law and the children. So everybody gets connected through this central space. So thereby the connections are strengthened and secured. And I was mentioning about this couple, elderly couple who are seated here. So now in the morning time, say about 7:30, 8 o'clock, that's the time the paper comes. They come outside, go through the paper leisurely, giving the space for the daughter-in-law and the son and the children to use the house effectively without interfering their activity. In urban scenario, now what is happening is everything is open, the flat is open. So mother-in-law is there very much, and the daughter-in-law, if she tries to scold the children for some school preparatory work, then both of them get into entanglement. Whereas here the bifurcation is very clear. The space types are very, very well defined. So they come out, read the paper, have a chat with the neighbor, people who are walking in the street. At the same time, have a feel of what is happening inside the house. Same with the men and the women, grandpa and grandma can have a sharing going on, share informations. So there is a bonding happening in the small little Thinnai outside. So earlier we saw the courtyard, now we are about to see the pluses of the Thinnai. And the same Thinnai in some other houses, so can be used as the retired people's recreation area in the daytime, say about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. At the same time, the same space can be used by the female folks around 4 o'clock. By the time the children are about to come, the lady folks come out and gather, have the, wash their face, look fresh, get ready so that they can receive the children who are coming from school. Same thing for the husband who is coming from work. So this is a kind of, at the same time, have a conversation going with the neighbor. The same Thinnai, the friend pile, can be a gathering place, a celebration place, a place where all age group can come together and enjoy. So when you look at this around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, nobody will be inside the home. Most of them will be out. So these are all the things which made me feel I'm not doing good architecture. I'm doing the room bound, like box kind of an architecture. I just wanted to move away. So these examples were driving me to come out and then explore. Same thing, the same courtyard, central courtyard can be an evening recreation place. After some time, they will come inside the home. The courts becomes very lively. The child can play, children can play, somebody can perform, somebody can dance. So others can look around. So elder also can participate. So they are not left alone. Even the streets in the road, the roads are always, there are two kinds. For people, one, and the vehicular ones. The people who are using bullock carts, they don't come like this. There is a service road in the rear. The bullock carts are never, tied in the front of the house, unlike the way we park the car in the portico. I don't know why we promote porticos, but then they don't do. So the entire street is given to people and their activities. Again, the same Thinnai is a great celebration, and there are layered Thinnais. So somebody who does not want to come into the house, they just want to have paper sharing. They can sit in the lower Thinnai, and somebody who wants to rest, the same old man or somebody elderly man can sleep in the upper Thinnai. So hierarchy of spaces is very well defined. So the Thinnai is belonging to everybody in the street, every neighbor. Anybody can without hesitation come and be around here. Only if they want to talk to the owners of the house, they will knock, or they will go near the door, main door. The main door will be seen from the kitchen. So somebody will address them. Uncle, why you are waiting? Yeah, can I help you? Or you want water? All that. So all these traditional aspects and elements made us, why not we explore in contemporary our projects. So the first thing that we did is remove the cars from the front of the house. Like the way they were thrown, the bullock carts were taken to the side of the house. We also always make sure the cars are not seen. Cars are the front spaces are given to the people, to the children, to the elders, to come and interact with the people in the street. So see, these are some of the houses that we were doing. So you can see it in the plan. The whole front side is given to the people and the landscape. So like the other houses also, they do the same. These are all some of the houses in Chennai where you are hard up at space. So you can't play in the street. You have, vehicles, flying very fast. So the child may get, into accidents. So what we did this, the car park space, it's a fairly 2-3 cars when they have, if you can combine it and then make it as a social gathering space, that becomes a multi-purpose space. We don't call the car parking as car parking space. We take the car out. So during the day, 8:30, the men goes out. So the 2 cars are out. It becomes the children play area. And the granny can come out, sit in the kund. We call it kund. Charles Correa has taught us this. So why not the kund becomes a social space? So after 8:30, 9 o'clock, when the kids want to play, they come around and play. And the lady folks also gather around at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, like that. And the evenings also they drop by. So this becomes a contemporary space. The traditional one is been made. The steps, these are the steps which has to provide for climbing up. Becomes a Thinnai kind of a kund kind of a thing. So where social interaction can also take place. Here again, we are also doing one more thing. In today's context, Thinnai, you cannot do it for security reasons. So what we have done is floating pavilion. What I'm showing in the front is a floating pavilion right bang on the compound wall. There is a water body also around. So elderly grandma who wants to leave the son for the school buses to pick them up, she will have sit in the front pavilion and see them through the square holes and have an eye on them whether they are getting into the bus safely or not. Similarly, by the time they want to come back in the evening around 3:30, so she will be all alone. Maybe the son and the daughter-in-law will be gone for work. So she does not want others to know that she is waiting. Somebody can play foul game, some thief can do foul game. So she will come sit in the pavilion and have these windows are there. She can see the school buses are coming or not. So after that, she will come and pick them up. So this is a kind of hiding place. At the same time, very, very private space for her. Even during the daytime, if she wants to have what is happening in the street, she can discreetly come and sit here, walk, have an eye on what is happening. If the vegetable guy is coming, this is a blow area. So you can see the grandma can be hidden there and then watch everything happening there. So these are another some houses where the Thinnai and the courtyards are becoming integral part of our contemporary plan. One of the other aspects which I failed to mention in my presentation is kitchen was the the main source of center of activity in the traditional homes, where lady folks from the kitchen can see who has come to the front side, and anybody knocking on the door or anybody is near the gate, everything can be seen from the kitchen. So we thought this is a good way because she otherwise will feel threatened. So we created the kitchen from where there are a lot of apertures are there. She can see who is opening the gate, who is coming to the main door, everything can be seen. And the entry steps itself will be designed in such a way, it also encourages people to come and sit. I will show it in the photographs. Yeah. So, and the same way, the multi-purpose space, the car park, it can become a younger generation activity zone in the daytime. So that has also made it as a celebration. So there is no column or anything, a massive cantilever of 25-30 feet. So it helps the people, children to come and play cricket when the cars were not around. The 3D view of that, a very small site, 40 by 60 only. So you can see the front projected one. And we also felt the younger generation, the today's teens, so many of the students like you don't have an opportunity to bring friends home. We thought, why not every house have a space for teenagers? So that they come without interfering with the house activity. They can sneak into the house, go to the teen spaces and entertain, get entertained with their friends. So I will show them in a detailed manner. So this is the sum of the entry of the this house. The entry portion with a lot of seating. So anybody can come and relax here before entering also, or evening time they can see. Same way internally, every floor will have some light coat and then thin ice. So the people in the rooms, if they want to chat in the morning with a coffee or night time before they go to bed, so these informal spaces become the connectors, so that everybody share something at that night and before they go. Otherwise, if these places are not there, then somebody will go from the staircase or the lift, they will go into the room without seeing people. So these are the cross sections of the kund, the vertical kund we call it. So now in this cross section, you see the multi-purpose area, that's the car park, a massive cantilever, about 25 feet cantilever, which provides the shelter for the car, which is going to be parked below. But then we have used with different levels. So the foyer is a double height space, but then we introduce a floating teenage kund. So where the youngster can come, be with the friends, and whoever is coming, they can call them through the slits. So this is the plan of the kund, and this is the cross section. So this is nearer to the entry. They can climb up through the staircase, come through a bridge, and then sit in this informal youth space, and then see through the holes. And the friends, whoever is parking the vehicle, they'll say, "Macha, I'm waiting here. Just come up." So on that kind of, the two sons, the daughters. So the same teenage spaces are provided in the up level also. There's a terrace garden. The child can go directly without tampering the rear portion house activity. They can go to the top floor where the terraces are also do have kunds. So these are the informal teenage spaces. Now I think the youngsters getting connected to the elders. So through a bridge, anybody can see the mezzanine, so they can come and participate. And some of our residents we do provide the same thinai with the cover, proper cover. The elders can come out and the children can also play. The street is used as a social space. It's not much crowded, not much vehicle traffic was there. So you can see the red dotted area. The inside house also has a lot of cone set in the landscape portion, which I will show in the pictures. And the entry also having the traditional thin ice. So these are some of the other houses. So the other houses where again the same seaters in a very informal manner. So with the incorporating landscape. So when you are seated now today, we don't have that kind of neighbors. So it may be boring also. So few people may be having the neighbors. So when they come, this becomes a part of this. Part of the landscape setting. At the same time, the thinai is also there. So close a few of the seaters. And once you enter, again, you are welcomed by the seaters, and seaters are everywhere. So somebody need not come outside and use their outside thinai. So these seaters can become, in the inside, but having a view over the house, at the same time forming a sculptural element. And then they climb up. Once you are climbing up, again, the series of the seaters, the guests who are staying, the elderly grandma who is staying, she won't feel left out. She may sit here and have an eye on the activity, the teenagers, whatever they are talking in the lower kund. So the elderly mother, grandmother can also see. So again, the same thinai extended in a larger fashion. So thinai itself is forming a social setting in the multi-purpose car park. So where all around, like an amphitheater, the seaters go around. And then the children, whenever they are playing, they can rest. They can be teams. They can come and use the spaces. And landscape is also becoming part of the car park, the multi-purpose, and the kund. So the same central celebrations which we saw in the courtyard house, here now the stair, the connector becomes a celebration. So whenever somebody goes up, there are people seated around the stair. So they have to answer something, talk something, and then go on. And every room gets a seater, and the seaters are getting integrated. We are throwing out the sofas. he feels sofas maybe as a show element needed in one or two places, but other areas somebody can lie there, somebody can have a chat, or somebody brings the book, do a homework, bring the laptop and use it effectively. And from the kitchen also the courtyards, central courtyards becomes the connectors. So from the kitchen somebody can serve the coffee to the people in the court. The court becomes a green. At the same time the court becomes a seater. The grandpa who is there near to that rear portion can come out, interact with the children there, and the stair and the lift is closer, so whoever is coming they have to address. From the kitchen we are able to see who is there coming and who is that one. Yeah. And this is the plan of the house, one house where we thought the celebration of the Thinnai can be a greater level. Though you saw the children playing in the street, this is the street there, and this is the friend cone. But then once you enter, we felt the teenagers who needs privacy, they can have privacy in the court itself by informal kun kind of spaces. Same way the person in the room number 12 can come out, and this long corridors can become part of the kun. So they don't feel like staying inside the room. When there's so much of activity, they will feel like coming out and sharing this central kun space. So the blow up of the kun space with the landscape element there. And in another cases, the same central space where we try to tie the kind of casual nets so that when somebody is lying here, living room is below, or the kitchen is somewhere in the adjacent area, or the dining is there. So the child, the younger teen get connected to bottom activity, at the same time doing their own little stuff. So they are not bothered, and the parents are also, they know one just a call, the boy is there or the girl is with them, they will give the air to them so they can exchange their thoughts. So at the same time, if somebody wants to chat with them, there's a seaters again in the form of a informal seating area. The stairs are planned in such a way that it becomes part of this social space. So now cost of living is so high, we cannot buy sofas and chairs everywhere. We feel these type of built-in elements solve the function of a stair, at the same time solves the purpose of informal seating. So this is the one I was mentioning from the kitchen. You can see this is the grandpa's room. Grandpa can come out, the teenager can play music to them so that they don't disconnect. Now the problem that we are facing in the urban houses are the elders and the younger generation don't get along, and there is a disconnect. That's why they go to old age home. They are not fitting into the life. Whereas if they can grow, they are also sensitive human beings, and the younger generation are also extremely sensitive. If there can be a bridge happening, that bridge will facilitate a healthy sharing. So we feel the courts are the kun spaces with the landscape element, having a proximity near the kitchen, so they can bring the dinner also outside night, having a laptop there, mummy serving the dinner, and then having a chat with mummy while working also makes the life a lot more interesting. So we feel what happens, you may be having a questions, what happens if the site is too tight? This is extremely a very tight site in Chennai, and the land value is so high. But then the kids who are coming for vacation, the mother may have a request, sir, the problem in our houses, elders and the kids don't get connected. So we came out with an idea, why not we have glass floors in the kids area. So the kids area here, the glass floors are there, and the library is also here. You can see the library books and the yellow color seating. So when they are using these library spaces and the game spaces, from the lower level, the grandpa can see what's happening above. So he can have a feel that the children are playing, they are sleeping, though you get a feel what's happening in the house. So this is the other house where I was talking about, somebody can come out of the room and use that kun. So this room person can come out, this corridor itself can become a Thinnai, what you saw outside in the traditional architecture becomes inside, and a lot of seaters there. So you can have a close, intimate discussion happening there. And the same way the stair is made in a very elaborate fashion. So that also offers seating for at least 5 to 8. So imagine nearly 14, 15 children, young teen boys can have a happy session, go and get water from the kitchen, get whatever snack or something from the fridge. The relationship between the younger generation and the mom or the elders, really gets strengthened. So the loneliness and the isolation do not happen. So, you just see this is a wonderful picture, it really, makes me feel why we killed it, who killed the spaces. Mom is cooking, you see the upper one, mom is cooking and having a hand on the cheeks of the young boy. The young boy is studying. So the love is really shared, and at the same time cooking is happening. So mom is not getting bored. Otherwise, poor mom in 8x10 kitchen in urban homes, feeling lonely. She's all the time looking. I always call it as a Nair tea shop, looking at the tiles, which is all around you, no window to nothing to look at. So such a boring space, such an uninspiring space. Whereas here it's filled with people, and daddy is teaching her, and there's a cart there. The kitchen is no longer the 8x10. It's a very big social space. So I think as architects, we should move away from this creating 8x10 spaces and create a social interacting space. There itself they are eating. Now, you see this left-hand side picture, 3-4 generations are happening here. Grandma, great-grandma, mother, her daughter, and her children, all are in one space, using the space very, very effectively. So I feel architects, we are also responsible in a way to kill that kind of spatial concepts. Okay, this is another area. We always feel we can have courtyards of many kinds, like the way Jeffrey Baba does, lots of courtyards happening around. So those courtyards each of them can have different kind of feel. For example, now in this kitchen, the whole kitchen is located in the garden. So mother, she can see the teenage boy who is her daughter who is working out in the gym. Through the gym, she can see the pool. So from kitchen, the same kitchen, she can see all the way to the pool. At the same time, looking at the son. At the same time, looking at the daughter who is studying. So the kitchen becomes the central, and there is also the central island, which will help anybody to carry the laptop and be with mom and then have a session going. So now this is the colored one where the kitchen is. So you can see the whole thing. You can see the pool. You can see the dining space here and the gym space here. I think notation is not marked out there, and the living also. So from there she can see the entry also. So the tradition concepts have taught us how innovatively one can connect the family. So this is another house. Right now it's nearing completion. So the mom said, why we are deprived of being part of the living activity? When men folks are chatting with the friends and the elders are watching television, why I am alone put into this task of just cooking, and why I am not connected? This was the question asked by the young computer girl. We said, no, we will also bring you part of the home, make you center of the home, not part of the home, make you center of the home. So this is the mother cooking, and this is the family space. She can have an eye, and the grandpa can have a chat with the grandson, and somebody she can control everything. And from here she can see the main door, dining, and the main door, and the son who is going up, and the daughter who is going up, and the family space. So the kitchen is placed exactly in the center so that she controls the whole house, and she also appreciates the landscape. So she can also appreciate, and she can also have an eye on the husband who is working in his home office. We also feel the offices are left out. People commute so much distance to just to use the same computer. So we feel in the traditional days, the weaver weaved in the house itself. The potter worked in front of the house. So people were doing all their activity and their occupation sitting in the house. The farmer placed his house in the fields. So he is part of the work, part of the living, happy living. So why not we also do this? So this office is located in the house itself. So mom can see what dad is doing, how long he's working. If he's free, can I go there and interact with him? So a lot of catching up can happen. The man, if he goes to an office, he comes back around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. He's so tired. He doesn't come participate in the house. So the relationship is really strained. So these are some of our houses where you have this kitchen which is next to a pool. So she can see what the son playing with the other friends, and she can also see the dining. So the kitchen itself is a big celebration. So somebody can come and stand here and talk, or somebody can bring the laptop and use the island thing and then do that. So the kitchen, we don't call it kitchen anymore. Sometime back we met when we were doing a gated community in one small village. We interviewed elders, we interviewed even young babies, young children, maybe 5, 6, 7 years. And one of the 6-year-olds said, I asked her, what do you want? And the baby said, uncle, I want my mother. So I was looking around, seeing all the family around, and they were saying, they were smilingly saying, no, she has got mother, but only thing is she's not seeing her mother for longer time. I asked what is happening. She said the mom is always hiding in the kitchen. So when the baby goes, she's asked to go to her room or living room or her room to do the homework. But then the child told me, uncle, I don't want anything, uncle. I just want a small chair and one small writing desk, for the 6 year. Then I asked her, what will you do with that? She said, I will do my homework sitting in the same kitchen, uncle. And if you can provide a small television, that will be nice. So I can have television, I can have writing board, table. I can have my mom also. So why not I have everything in one space, uncle? That really made us, curse us, and really made us know how badly I failed as a professional. I could not understand the simple connect equation of a home, and we were building nonsenses. So then I realized the mom does not require a kitchen. Mom requires a room. So we developed a thing called mom's room, mom's working space. Like the way dad gets a beautiful living room, dad gets a beautiful air-conditioned office. Why not the poor mom working from 6 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock? Why she's deprived? She's also educated like daddy, and she's not given a space. So that kid made us realize we need to really address this. Same way, now tradition. People have faith in different faiths are there. People who believe Hindus have their faith, Islamic friends do, they have their friends, and Christian friends. So we feel, why not have it as a beautiful celebration of life? Why just put it in a small shelf, hide the shelf, and open it only for limited hours to do just a namesake puja? So all our projects, you can see the beautiful bamboo court and the pillar there and the Sai Baba there. It doesn't require much space. We have used the side setback. So somebody can come. So there are devotees of Sai Baba, devotees of Vinayaga, devotees of Jesus. So anybody can have their beautiful space in the courts, in the side setbacks. So they can be also put into use. The government asks for 5 feet setback. It's used as a plumbing line, manhole areas. So it is not used for anything else. We feel those spaces can be effectively used and then get back the traditional values into architecture. Same way, this is again in another house. The middle one is a meditation area for a Christian family, Mrs. Philip Burgess, Geeta Philip Burgess. So it doesn't look like a typical prayer room. We felt she can become part of nature. That can be like an unwinding space. The man works in the factory, Mr. Philip. So he comes home. He feels, he has to be refreshed and then, get a small prayer going. So he need not go to a church. He can rather pray here itself. So the Christian prayer room in a very, very informal garden kind of setting. Even in our larger projects, this is for the Udavum Karangal project, we feel the water and the religious praying elements can be there. The person, the patient, or the relative who is suffering, who is in the critical ailment, these can soothe. This can really reinforce the beliefs. So the religious extensions can become part of architecture too. And we feel even bathrooms, that these are the traditional ones. The WC is not seen. It's pushed to one side somewhere. But then the bathing area is almost like a room. That's how they approached it. There's a small courtyard also, light well also. So it becomes, when you go there in the morning, it's so refreshing. But then our 5x7, the narrow one with the ventilator on top, it doesn't do anything. I think that after the independence, the engineers came out with this, and the Western commode came, the Indian WC came. So they wanted some enclosure and put a thing called ventilator. I don't know why we architects still following the same. Can we not think something original? So we don't have to think original. I think the earlier generation have done wonders. They've given a small skylight, and so the whole space is so beautiful. You don't have to be a rich man. I think you can go anywhere in small towns, small villages in Tamil Nadu. You will see this is the where they wash their clothes. This is where they take the shower. This is the where they put the dump clothes, all that. So this is a multi-purpose area. And these are some of our toilets, what we have come out with. So the toilet, why not? The toilets also have a garden. With insects having a control, we have a control over the insects, and then bringing this entire thing skylight. And this client even didn't want a glass. I requested for a glass. If there is a mosquito or something, you should have a glass. He said, no, I'm from Madurai, one small town, small village nearby, and I like to be part of nature. So why not this be? This gives me a great start in the morning. So shower there, WC here, wash basin here, looking at the garden. And here we always give a seater. So somebody who wants to, typical earlier generation, they have a mukali, that's a three-legged stool, and part of every bathing area. We, instead of that, we said, why not have it as a built-in seater everywhere? These are some of our toilets where the garden also comes part of it. There are courts inside. So the same toilet can be used by two people at a given point of time. Somebody can take a shower, somebody can brush, or somebody can use the WC. So it can be multifunctional. Sometimes we also make it as a very, very personalized, like this is the bedroom, and you can walk through a courtyard, you get into the toilet. And from the toilet, between the husband and wife, what is their privacy? So she can have a chat going. She'll be inquiring what are you planning to do, where are you going to go, what kind of work happening, and he will also try to chat with about the children and all that. So this central courtyard in between the bed and the washroom becomes a regenerating. Even nighttime, it can become very romantic place. And some other toilets where the son, young boy for 8 years, 7 years, the grandma can come sit here and give him an oil bath, or somebody wants to chat when somebody is taking a shower very informally, or an oil bath, somebody can come and massage the thing. It's a beautiful bench here and the garden here. And this is another one, very tight site, but then we said it should have a sea breeze, so there's a wind tunnel over this and lots of light coming in, so it doesn't look like a toilet. So the shower becomes part of the sky. You go there, sky is there, and the glass is of course there. You can get the direct sunlight, and then beautiful breeze from the seaside. It's a seaside thing. We also try to learn from all the 5 elements used by our ancestors. So water, fire, earth, and air and space. So we feel water is a life giver and it should be celebrated. So we removed the cars, we put the cars aside and gave the front space to the children, to the elders to walk. At the same time, the kids get connected to water, connected to flowers, lily here. So, the front itself is a beautiful one where anybody can be entertained here. Even night, some party going on, it's a buffet area. So why kill it with a car? Throw that car, throw that damn machine, and you have a beautiful space given to you. The same water element in some other houses. So we removed the car in the other house, Dr. Panniselvam's residence. As soon as somebody enters, you are welcomed by the lily pond, lotus pond. So you can walk across and then go. There is a simple bench there, no car, no sight of car. So the whole act of welcoming a guest is so beautiful. Nighttime it will unlit, and it's the whole thing. From the children's balcony, they can see the water. From other balcony, you can see it. So the landscape, the water element becomes a central element, almost like a focus element. Even the same house interior, the grandpa's room and the family space around and the kids space above. So the water is the connector. So there are some seaters are also given here. It's not shown in this picture. So another house, an urban house, very tight one, the lower portion, the elders' house, and the upper portion, the youngsters wanted to be a separate living. But then we made, there's a water cascading along the steps. So you don't feel the pain of climbing. So the water always runs, the rushing water along the rock steps, and plants are also placed here and there. And some other area, dining, water all around, water goes below as if you are floating over the water. And in some other house where the water is there, you can see the koi pond, koi fish, all the fish are there, the prayer room. So next to the prayer, the water body. In this case, the water runs into the master bedroom, into the IT guy who is working, and the fish can go bite his leg so that he doesn't get bored. He's working from morning to night, and 8 o'clock onwards, he takes the international call. So we feel that water can go into the bedroom, into his space, and then he can feel the fishes, put his leg down, and there is an also pebble court. I will may show it in other slides. Some other houses where you enter, and then this is the entry, the lower level, and you walk, climb through a glass bridge. The whole water goes below, and with the koi fishes all around, and the living room with a glass floor, you can see the fishes below. Night times you can light the water body. So night, both are doctors working in Apollo, very strained thing, stressful life also. So when they come, they want to chill out, have a drink or something. So they can look at the water below. Same house, enter near to the entry, you see the koi points, and then there's a bridge again going into the house. Again, this person, though is a very modern person, he's from Chettinadu, a traditional place. So he didn't want to miss out the connections. So we incorporated many of the features of the traditional Chettinadu elements, so that he will have a continuity, and his mom and dad and the relatives who are from the place can feel proud that the son is not moved away from their culture. These are some of the houses where the internal becomes outdoor. This is a central courtyard with the bridge, glass bridge going over, and the kitchen. So this is the kitchen. The kids can sit around, so they don't have to go to the dining room formal eating. So the maid or the mom who is working in this kitchen, and this is the pantry, can bring the food here, and the lights will be there, the fishes are there. So they can bring the friends and have a gala berry thing going happening here. And same way we remove the car. So as soon as you enter, you have lots of seaters, and the children can have a private walk, and there is a tree here, and they can have a separate teen space. They don't have to go to this. These are not very big houses. You don't think it's a thing. It's about 2 ground or 1.5 ground properties. And we also feel the pools are becoming increasingly needed one, because everybody is working, everybody is hard working. So they can't go to clubs, take the car half an hour, 45 minutes drive, and going and coming, and we don't know who has kept the cameras where and all that. So this is almost part of the kitchen. In the left side is the kitchen and the dining. So from the kitchen, a mom can unwind whenever every day this motor has to be switched on for half an hour to 45 minutes. So whenever she gets bored, she can switch it on, and then the water becomes part of her cooking. So she can hear the nice sound and then see the beautiful space. So water becoming part of our living. Then the earth. So many places we say it's a good house, but then we don't have a garden. It's all everything man-made. We feel every room should have a garden. Every bedroom should have a garden. Every living space should have a garden. Every dining should have a garden. Even the staircase should have a garden. So this is a beautiful tree growing around the staircase area. So whoever is climbing can see this wonderful thing. And this is part of a bedroom, the right one. And whenever you want the gardener to come, there is a steel door. You open up from the car shed. He can come and do the maintenance for this. And again, we feel the first floor, we say the master bedroom is located in the first floor, but then the master bedroom does not have a garden. So we feel, why not every bedroom? This is her daughter's bedroom, and she was doing +2 at the time we were having a chat with her. She said she would like to have her husband's room and let it be romantic, uncle. Now she's become a doctor and she's got married also. So she can see what's happening through the split window. It's part of a agriculture field. From far away, people should not see the plant is hiding them. and they can bring their chairs out and then sit here. And these are some of the green walls. From any room you can see this. So the greenery becomes part of our every planning. So these are all, most of them are internal courtyards. These are the ones in the terrace, the teenage party space, the first floor, surrounded by garden. So the parapet itself becomes a planter. So we have not spent much. You can see how they didn't have much money. So normal cement floor only. So, but then we felt garden is an essential part and it has to be everywhere. So this is a teen play space, party space, and then seaters, and a very tall wall. Peeping neighbor, uncle, auntie does not peep into the young boys and girls chatting, birthday celebrations. So 7 feet parapet wall, and then they can have this light going on. And these are very, very small houses, 1,400 square feet houses. But you see the setback area, the 5 feet setback area is made an integral part of the house. So from every room, you can see this, the 5 feet is not wasted. It does not become a plumbing manual setback. Although we have this manual here and there, but we covered it with stone. So given it for garden and then provided security, safety in the above. And some cases we also appreciate nature by allowing the nature to become part of the house. So here, this is the main entry. You can see how this neem tree is going through. In fact, it was not going through. We were building it around without cutting. And these metal decks were projecting without cutting. We climbed the tree and made sure where the support should be. Like monkeys, we were all 3-4 junior architects, myself, we were all climbing, not now, but done about 15 years back. So, and these terraces will be in the foliage. So you are part of the foliage, you can have your friends seated there. And in some cases, we made the house built around the house, around the tree. So this is one such place where you can see even our KSM sir is there, Srivatsan, Professor Srivatsan sir is also there. Many other architects, Mahesh also was there somewhere. Yeah. So these are all very normal 1.5 grounds house. We feel the safety and security is essential. The compound wall with the interesting openings with bamboos and even parallel perpendiculars with reinforcement inside, with the concrete, also liquid concrete, with a lot of seater for the elderly grandma. She has to walk, she is diabetic. We felt I think her needs have to be addressed. So this becomes our everyday walking trail in this. Whereas in the earlier courtyard houses, central courtyard houses, we will have a large space where they will have the grains in the sun, or they can dry something in the sun. So those big courtyards can become a walking space for the elders. But today in urban scenario, that's not possible, but these setbacks can do. Same way, everywhere we feel nature has to be brought in, either through a bamboo or through the planting. So every entry can be made interesting. So these are the balconies in the upper floor. Generally, balconies are provided with an open thing. But then what happens is when somebody comes and sits in the balcony, the neighbor uncle sees them. I mean, he's not seeing them, but we have a feel that he's looking at us. And our house people may be in casuals and nighties and trousers without banyan, maybe with banyan and all that. So why make others also embarrassed, and we also get embarrassed in the meantime. So these enclosed balconies give a lot of privacy. At the same time, you can see what's happening through the slits given here. So informal again through the bamboos one, the thief can't come in. So totally safe. So people can come out any time of the day. Again, lots of courtyards happening within the house, around every space. So you can see from every room how the garden is. So again, fire and air, so light also. So every house, the compound wall and the courts and the bamboo ones becoming integral part of our work. And you can see even larger buildings, people's court with the modulated light becoming an attractive feature for hospital. This is an hospital. We feel people may be threatened to go inside. So these areas are as a connector. They can come, sit and wait here for the son to come, park the vehicle, and then come and then take the elderly mother inside. So the informal areas all around. Again, stairs becoming a court feel kind of thing with the skylight coming in. Again, pergolas providing garden safety, internal safety of the garden happening. And again, light in the larger buildings like Delta Memorial, which we have done. So air and light becoming part. So courtyards creating ventilation and light patterns. So many of the projects you see, we modulate, thanks to Charles Correa sir, we've learned so much from him. So the courtyards, again, with central lighting, through bamboo pergolas, and in some cases we also open the side walls to allow the airflow. That becomes a wind catcher kind of a thing. These are some of the examples. So we also feel that space can become part of the house by having a large central spaces with only the pergolas. So the sky can be seen. So sky and the internal space and the free flowing spaces are becoming together in a easy, seamless manner. So again, courtyards with pergolas and traditional motifs. This is again from the Chettinadu house client. So he's brought many of the Chettinadu elements and you used it again. Yeah. So another some examples. So again, some more. So now we want to just show a few examples in view of time. So this is a project which we did for the highway restaurant. There is a client who wanted to put up a restaurant on the highway. So this is the highway, and this was our site, and it is in a turning. So many people tend to travel very fast, and our project may become a big failure. So we felt this person, he was a computer engineer. His father was running a tea shop in a place near Viluppuram. So mom died of cancer. This young boy wanted to go to village and then set up this highway so that his dad and his brother, elder brother, can come back to life with this building and not go because of the sadness of mom's death. In fact, 3-4 years they were in a very, very pathetic condition. The tea shop which they were running was running into loss. So he came to us and we said, he told us, sir, I'm borrowing huge sum and our life and death in this project. So kindly make it a successful one. But then in a highway, when the cars are going to go fast, and if the road is turning, this can never become a success. So we didn't know what to do. So because nobody will park the car in a turning. So if it is there in the long stretch and if they happen to see it from very far, they may stop, but otherwise they were not going to stop. So we didn't tell them about this negative aspect, but we studied from tradition. How traditionally the Sandai or Shandy is so successful, the weekly market for friends from Calcutta and other places. So in Tamil Nadu, we have a thing like every week on a Friday or Saturday, people in the village, they come together and buy things from one place. It's generally under the tree or something, lots of groups of trees. So, but then these are never a failure. This has been there for 1,000 years. And we were wondering how this was made success, why many of the shopping centers are becoming failure, shopping or restaurants are making failure. But when we studied this Sandy, so what we have found out is they always sit in a group. These are clusters. In each cluster, there somebody may be selling a vegetable, fruit or vegetable, but the next person may be selling a fish. You won't sell a vegetable because it become a competing thing. The other person may sell ironmongery. So you may have some spoons or some agriculture tools. The other person will sell something which is very, very, very different. So all these different people, assorted people coming together, if somebody is coming to buy the fruit, if he's not buying the fruit, he may see the fish and then he may buy it, or he may see something else. So why not we adopt this concept in this site so that just a restaurant may become a failure? Why not we induce many such thing? So we created each one as separate. There is a group of cluster of buildings. So each forming a center area. From there, they can go to different places. So each is an element by itself. Each block is an element by itself. And each of them do sell differently. Somebody will be a food one, somebody will be a sweet one, somebody may be a pawnwala, somebody may be selling a general stationery stuff. So somebody may be having an ATM, somebody having a small bank. So these type of structures gathered around a central space. And now this has become quite a successful one because we borrowed the learning from the tradition. So this is now this Clive has made 3 other restaurants. So with this profits. One more thing, and after that, 2 more projects. This is another project. It's called Udavum Karangal. It's a hospital for middle income and poor people. So the owner is a charity-minded person. His name is Papa Vidyagar, and these are his inmates. So many people who are discarded by society, the boys who are thrown out, who are nobody. This man takes pity on them, and there may be mentally dealing people also. So he wants to help everybody. So through a charitable hospital. So we were asked to design this charitable hospital. And the main challenge was many of them are poor, uneducated people. People who come to this hospital are going to be very uneducated. They can't read much of science. If there is a radiology block or radiology department, they won't be able to understand what is a radiology. If there is a another testing center is there, they cannot know what is OPD. So everything is strange for them, and so we were wondering how to educate them or how to make them wayfind very easily. So what we have done is what they have done in large temple complexes. We were trying to understand. So now this is the plan of the Madurai. Now if you look at it, each colored one, each zone. But nobody gets lost in a massive temple complex like Madurai, because each of them will have a distinct character. Now there is a golden lily pond that's there in this yellow color region. So people who come to around this, they know they are around this pool area. They by memory they know what is happening. Next to that is a small shrine for Shiva. So this is the shrine for Meenakshi. So like that, each zone there is some kind of coding. So each zone is very, very different. Why not we use that similar concept? So I will just go to the plan. I think they have the plan somewhere. They have the plan by mistake. So I will explain that. So each we identified the entry, the approach, and then we also removed the vehicular entrances, vehicular pathways, vehicular drop-offs. So we felt the big fancy cars really threat the people. So why not have it very people-friendly? So they can walk, casual clothes, they can go use the facility. Only for the emergency area, you will have the ambulances coming. So a lot of smaller parts, very humanistic parts, even the finishes were done like the way the temples have done, the gray finish. So it doesn't really threaten the people. It doesn't give the very fancy feel. So the temples have stone walls and the gray ones. So it gives a soothing one. So why not we do the same? And again, like in the temple, you have lots of spaces where anybody can hang out anytime. There is no particular thing. So even poor people who come, who wants to carry their lunch, they can sit there. They don't have to buy from the canteen. So everything may be expensive. So this is the where people's court, we call it as a people's court, where the son can drop them and take the vehicle to the parking and then come back and pick them. So the mother may be very, very, let's say, shy to enter. So she can hang out here, or the son may be coming from a factory. So till the time the elderly mother can wait, you can come, mother, Amma, you be around in the people's court. I will come and pick you up and take you inside. So these type of informal spaces were given, like the way the temple, you have a lot of mandapams or open pavilions. So we introduced this concept. I have done 26 hospitals, but most of them are like box kind of a thing. This one, since he was very charity minded, and we explained how psychology of the poor, so he allowed us. So here also the same way like the temple, you have different codes, different color coding. So they know if they are in the yellow zone, that's a radiology block. So if they go to some other area, that's a green area. So that's a OPD block. So likewise, like the way the Madurai temple had placed in different zones, we also used color coding and different geometrical configuration to help the people to identify, so that the commoner Muniyama or Kuppan will not find it difficult to see them. Again, same color coding in every part of the hospital to help them identify. Yeah. So this is another small house. I think this is another one more example. I will post this. So this is in Coimbatore. This is 2,600 square feet, small property only. We felt traditional houses are very compact. It doesn't have too much of fanciness or flashiness. And like the way Doshi sir, Khan, and everybody uses brick, we felt why not we take the humble brick and make something out of it. And at the same time introduce contemporariness, because the children will be contemporary, they will be growing up, and after 10 years, 20 years, this house should not become old fashioned or outdated. So in kind of taking the thing from earlier generation, that brick, but then taking the contemporariness through this parametric expression of brick. So we created something simple, but at the same time connecting all three generations. If you look at this plan, it's a very simple plan, but what we have done is this is the ground floor plan. Yeah, this is the ground floor plan. No, this is the ground floor plan. The left one is the ground floor plan. Now, instead of the traditional courtyard, we created the swimming pool or the water body as the focal element. So as soon as you enter, you can see it. You don't enter like this, but you are given a visual view of the water body. But then you enter into a large hall, multi-purpose hall. From there, you walk through a courtyard. Again, also you can see the water body. As soon as you step in, you can see the water body. Again, you see it, and then you go into the dining. Like dining overlooks this, and the kitchen overlooks this, and then there is a gym, which has an opening towards the front side. The friends can come and use it also. Same way, from the gym, you can see what's happening. Mom can see you doing a gym. So a small tight space, but within which we are accommodated the traditional concept. And then we also duplicated it in the upper floors. So this is the mezzanine floor. From the stair, you come by a glass connecting bridge. And then from here, you can look down into the pool. There is a home theater. Again, the same home theater people can come and have the glass floor and then see what's happening here, get connected to the people at the lower level. And this is the upper level, all bedrooms and the family lounge, everything, and the daughter's room looking towards the pool. So this one, yeah, and go to the next slide. Yeah, this is the entry I was mentioning about. Yeah, you enter here and you also can see the water body. And once you come, this is the double light hall inviting and the dining with the pool view. And from above floors, you can also look down the water body. From the dining, you can also look at the puja court, also look at the pool there. This is how you enter. And again, this large thing. We also introduced another one interesting element, that is, in order to generate space, the double light spaces, but there are single light spaces used for parking and all that, service areas like the gym and all. We create a space over it, so creating an urban forest kind of thing all around. So the above portion with lots of greenery happening, and the lower one with kitchen looking in, dining looking in, from the gym looking into the pool area, from the upper guest bedroom also looking into this. Some of the inner portions. From the above portions, you can also look down, and the puja again located in the landscape area. Okay, this is the last example. This is called the Kootu Kudiiruppu. So we were called by a group of people from a small village. They wanted us to do the dream house. All these people, somebody lost a father when he was 2 years. Somebody who was working in a mill, in an oil mill, becoming owner of the mill. They are success stories, all from poor families, but really working their way through and then becoming success. But then wanted to do a dream village for them to make everybody live with them. Now you can see the bottom pictures, the appa, grandpa there, grandma there, the son, one of my client, and the son and daughter, and the daughter-in-law. So all of them coming together and building this home. And in fact, 3 or 4 families coming together and interacting. And we are almost living with them. Nearly 2 days we stayed. Every time whenever we go, there is a small room they will give in one of their houses. We stay there, dine with them. The entire 6 people and all the relatives coming together and sharing their views on the houses. And we also sharing our views about those houses. So a lot of sessions, even the site visits, site discussions, everything together only. So even young architects like Deepan, architect Deepan here, and there's one more girl, I can't see her. So everybody will interact with them. So they're big, Deepan again explaining here. So this village, what we did is, all this is about 3-acre land. So the whole water, like the way traditionally all the temples collect water and then have a natural water body. So they didn't have water anywhere. So all the rainwater is collected and stored. So why not all the water of this land can be connected and stored here and create a small community building. So as soon as you enter, you see the water and also a temple there and a meditation area. And then there is large multi-function space which can be used for parking or gathering, birthday celebration, everything can happen. Outsiders can come from outside. But then internally what we have done is place the house depending upon the relationship with the neighbor. Somebody will say, I want to be next to him, I will next to him, like that. A lot of discussions went on. Finally, they chose. And then the important aspect that we learned from the thing, if we have 3 generations people living there, each of them wanted to have their own way of using the spaces. Mother will say, why should I go open the main door and then go out? Why not I walk from my bedroom into the garden? Since you are saying gated community is so secure, so let me go out from my bedroom itself, go for my walk, come back and close my door. So if even I can invite my friends directly from the outside garden into my room. So that way the young boy friend can come and we need not take them through the main room. So we can just take them through one of the side French doors and take them to their rooms. So it's a very informal way of living. So what we have done is every house will have thinnais and seaters, even the pathways with the pavilions like the way the temples will have in the village, small Vinayaga thing under a tree. So likewise, we also created series of pavilions, so ladies can come and chat, the children can play and then rest. So every house again same way with all around seating. So lots of activity happening around this, and there is a central courtyard in every house with a thinnai there. There is a walkthrough. That's okay. 1 minute, I'll just try. Where is the walkthrough? Video is the mail. Okay. I think I'll show the mail. Only 1 minute of time. So we feel that streets have to be really addressed. So in this layout, and our exterior thinnais, small walkthrough the community building.
The walkthrough is
And
not
water
visible.
Collected
The
from
walkthrough is
there.
not visible.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, this has to be, the shared document has to be
Okay.
stop sharing, then the walkthrough.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Professor. So, since it's located in a very small village, Kangayam, which is about 40-50 kilometers from Coimbatore, we wanted to retain the cultural traditional values of that place. We didn't want it to be a very, urban kind of a thing. So, whole thing, as we explained in the plan, wanted to have a small narrow lanes kind of an approach. So the community space, the front one, inviting one, and then you enter in, lots of greenery, and the water body from the water collected from the site, rainwater, and like a natural setting, and every house with a large thin ice all around. So every house can almost talk to the neighbor, no compound walls anywhere. And the morning walking time, playing time, and the sitting time, and then reading, and some nearby house can give them coffee or milk or whatever. So there is no roads anywhere. So the cars are parked outside. So every house will have a court, many courts, and the puja courts. So we feel nature living with the traditional values as part of our solution for this gated community. Thank you. Yeah, I think with this we are going to connect. I'll stop sharing, Professor.
Yes. So that was a wonderful presentation. I think more than anything, Architect Murli, I think the questions you have raised for not only young students and architects, but for all architects, the questions we have raised is a very important fundamental question that we have been constantly influenced by the West. Even this presentation we are doing in English, so we have been constantly influenced by the West 400 years, more than 400 years. And I think it is not late for us to re-ask these important questions on even the way we think. Do we think in our mother language or English, or which mother tongue, or how do we think? If we discuss architecture in English, will it change? I think these are all important questions because those words mean different things. And your presentation in raising the questions has also touched upon all the elements of architecture. I won't say it was just traditional and historic, but elements of architecture which actually are living traditions. So we need to, it is when we use the word history, and we always think it is in the past, that it is 400 years ago, 500 years ago. But when we travel in Tamil Nadu and we travel in Kerala and in remote areas, we are finding that this is a living history. This is not of the past. This is living. And I think your presentation has brought this out very clearly. Thank you very much for this presentation. And I think we've received many messages, everyone very inspired by this presentation, right from students to very senior architects also. And they are wishing that we can have, after your presentation, maybe sometime later, there are requests for even having a panel discussion based on what you have presented today, the set of questions. So I have responded to them that maybe a group of our university students will sit and actually collate what were the important questions that you raised today. We will put it down and we will send it to you. And from that, maybe we will have a panel discussion with even senior and young architects, because these are important questions for the practice and for the schools of architecture. How do we build? How do we respond to life around us? Like that issue where you talked of someone sitting on the floor or sitting on a sofa. I think these are not minor issues. These are really major issues on how we relate, whether a kitchen opens or not, whether the kitchen is in the center, how does nature relate. So architect Sandhya now will has quite a few questions. I think she also has. So she will moderate the session. I just wanted to thank you because I think this was then put a summation to a very inspiring talk. And then Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi also would interact with you on certain points that she's also exploring in her subject in the school. So each faculty today is exploring certain things, and I think your presentation has so I'll request architect Sandhya to start with the questions and Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi to interact on what are the issues that came up and what can we look at. Architect Sandhya, would you please start? Thank you, Architect Murli.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor.
So that was a very insightful talk. We saw the elements find its expression in the contemporary spaces in myriad ways. So one of the questions, we have quite a few questions here. So one of the questions would be, sir, how do you see the reinterpretation of the traditional elements that is in the modern world, and what are the changes that you would suggest?
Can you come again?
How do you see the reinterpretation of the traditional elements in the modern world? And also, what are the changes that you would suggest?
Okay. See, the problem in the modern world, I think people are, conceiving architecture without any guidance. You take any client, anybody who wants to build, they start with this: how many bedrooms? I think this notion has, I don't know who created this, whether the engineers created this or the architects created, how many bedroom house. But earlier years, we had only 500 square feet house or 700 square feet house. There was only one room where they will store things, or if there is a young couple who are newly married, they may use that room. But otherwise, everything was open. The rooms had multiplicity. There was no bed in there. The minute you put a bed, it becomes a bedroom. The minute you put a dining table, it becomes a dining room. So every room, you put a furniture and then you kill that room. So in a flat, if you have two rooms and you put two wooden beds, it becomes a bedroom where the child will play. The child cannot play in the TV room. There is another room called TV room. So where the kid will grow, it cannot grow anywhere. But earlier years, we had mats. We rolled the mats in the night and put pillows. Or if somebody is rich, they will put little mattress. And in the morning, they roll it and then becomes a room for the child. Now there is no child room. There is no elder room. There is nothing. We have only bedrooms. I will always wonder, are they sleeping all the time? What are they doing with the bed? Anybody enters that room has to go to the bed. But when somebody hits the bed, I think they are not normal. So my feel is there are a lot of takeaways from tradition. The way they lived, I think every room was put into great use. Even the 700 square feet, a washerman's house I've seen in Vallam 200 years back is built. It has got a 7x7 courtyard. It brought so much of light into this and so much of air draft also. So you're part of nature, but we are literally cut off from the nature. And we have become like, limited people. It is very, very inclusive. I mean, it's not inclusive, it becomes very exclusive. Today's living, it is his room, exclusively, that boy's room, that girl's room. What happens to the cousins who are coming? Can they sleep there? Maybe, if he permits. So there is time restrictions, there is a relationship restrictions we are creating, because as architects, we are creating the barriers. I think morally, we should be feeling sorry for creating the strong barriers. It's a time that we come out of this and look at the world in a very utopian manner. Actually, our people are very, very utopian. There's a dhoti, anybody can wear the dhoti. Okay, any guests come, 5 guests come, 5 dhotis you give, they can wear. The tundu, that white towels, is common to everybody. So we were so utopia earlier years, but now I think we have become very, 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 very subjective, very personalized, very introverted, not accommodating the society, not accommodating the relatives and friends. I think I will feel bringing back the fluidity of the traditional spaces, we can give a contemporary world a new direction. That's what I am feeling. Break the walls, break the wall. Yeah, you break the wall, don't create too many walls. I think a bedroom, for example, you take a room and you open it out with the folding door, that becomes a family space. If you close it in the night, it becomes a bedroom, bed space, if somebody wants a privacy. So why not we create more French doors or openable doors or screens, which will allow a lot of people to use the spaces effectively rather than one or two few individuals use it. Okay. these changes I will recommend.
Yes. So, sir, do you also find a climatic impact with the introduction of these traditional elements?
Yeah, actually, I used to, with my Western mind, I was trained in a Western school some time back. I was questioning our people were ignorant. They didn't have windows, no. So I was when we were looking at such a beautiful French windows and everything, I was thinking that the Westerners were far superior. But after some time, I saw the work of Leo Pereira. So the SARS professor, the government's friend. So he provides a window at the floor level, and it is not big. He gives a very small one, but his theory is he creates a courtyard. The courtyard creates a draft. It creates a draft, and through the small opening from the exterior, the air gushes in. You don't require French window with 3 sides wall and 1 French window. It doesn't do anything. So the air which is coming in, it can't create a draft. It can't go out. So the hot air which is entering the house becomes hot air. It can't go escape. So we are creating hard boxes as architects, whereas the traditional people, they had joint houses. They didn't really, it was not with the, I think Macaulay, after Macaulay, he brought the rule, everything Indian should be changed. So they introduced the concept of 5 feet all around, and we detached ourselves from the neighbor, cut off ourselves from the street, and then started aping the Western way of lighting the spaces. Western way they lighted because they needed a lot of sunlight, whereas we don't require light of light. We require moderate light, but lot of air. So they created small apertures on the roadside, created the biggest window in the middle of the house. That's a sky window. Like the Khan says, it's a big sky window. So air can rush through the small apertures, gush through the sky window, get out of the house so quickly, create more and draft. So I think climatologically they were far superior. Our knowledge about climate is so reduced, and we don't even know north, east, southwest. No, so we don't know how the sun moves. They were masters at many things. I think that a lot can be learned. I've not learned much. I need to be guided by some people who have a lot of expertise in traditional climatology. My knowledge is limited. I should accept.
Sir, as you rightly said, we're trying to ape the ideas of the West, and you've started to question the impact of the Western ideas. In that context, what message do you have for our students to read on?
Sorry, last one I missed it. Sorry.
What message do you have for the students?
Okay. See, we always get ourselves surrounded by the Western media. No? So you type out in the net anything, it's a Western. I will always ask jokingly some young architects, name some cine actors. They will say 100 numbers. I will also ask, name some Indian architects. Okay, somebody from Gujarat, you name 10 Gujarat architects. Name 10 Mumbai architects. Don't talk about Lee Corbusier. He's died long back. Okay, don't talk about only Charles Correa sir or Toshi sir. They're all very elders. But there are a lot of young people doing good work. Like for example, Sanjay Mohi is doing enormous work. Hiren Patel is doing so many. Now our Gurjit Singh Mathuru is doing. So I would say they are the leaders of our culture. And they should be celebrated, they should be followed, their works, every plan should be read. But if you go to the net, you don't get Gurjit Singh's plan. If you go to this website, you may get. So you need to don't type in the net and then get some Western information and try to copy that information. I think you need to be very original. First of all, travel a lot. You need to travel. Go to any place. Don't say, now COVID is there, we are not able to go or something like that. You can go to Sri Perumbudur and then see the beautiful temple of Sri Perumbudur, or look at the Rajiv Gandhi's memorial. So we have a lot of examples nearby, or go to the new hospital Madam converted secretariat. No? So these are all lot of beautiful works. Or look at Charles Curiasa's work in and around you. You need to bicycle a lot. You need to take your bicycle, go to narrow lanes. As doshis are used to say, you need to adopt a small boy in a slum. Don't adopt. You can go to his house or go to a small poor person's area. You give some clothes. Let us say you are giving 10 unwanted clothes, which is not needed by your family. Give it to them. Develop a relationship. I think Doshi has recommended this is the way a young boy can be made sensitive. And then that family will have a lot of attachment to you. You start using their spaces and see how they are living. How others are living is a great lesson. I think every young person can start doing that. One is travel around and get yourself connected to your nearby neighborhood people and the lifestyles, different lifestyles. Don't just look at the restaurants and alone or go to the malls alone. There are a lot of things happening around you. Go to there. And similarly, as Professor Duganand sir was mentioning, there's a temple they were building. So sir was saying every day it was a learning thing. So you see how the craftsman, Stapati works with the uli and the chisel, all that. Same way, lots of things happening. Mahabalipuram, you take a bicycle. It is only 30-40 kilometers bicycle ride. Go there, hang out there. How people do sculpting. Same way, a lot of things are happening in Auroville. Go to Auroville, learn how they do it. Lots of learning by experience. So that is the kind of message I would like to give to young people. And talk to people. The other thing is talking to people is getting less. You have to talk to your neighbor or your senior, your classmate. Argue. Arguing is one of the best way to learn. So, but many people think arguing you get into a fight. It is not so. You are arguing about a point, but thereby you are learning the multi aspects of the same point, same concept. So by talking, by exchanging, by arguing, your knowledge there definitely grows. So you need to be very open. I would suggest an open forum for students. It's a dynamic platform where somebody posts a message. Let's say somebody who's working at 10 o'clock in the night. He is not knowing about how to solve a problem of an entry, or how to solve the problem of a central space, how to solve the problem of lighting. So he can just post a message in the group. Anybody from Savita College or a student as a community, they can, maybe somebody will be working at 12 o'clock. He sees that message and he responds, he guides. So thereby continuous learning is possible. So there can be student platforms where it's dynamic. So anybody posts a message like in the WhatsApp, you can Telegram 1,000, 2,000 people can be there. So you can create those kind of platforms. Continuous learning is possible from other people. Yeah, it's possible. That's my message.
That's great, sir. We have a few more questions here. One of them is just curious to know, we saw many residences with many innovative traditional elements being incorporated in a very contemporary way. The curiosity is about who are the diverse professions who actually live in these houses, belonging to who are the people?
Okay, in those houses. Okay, good question. One example, Shanti Priya Mohan is a very small house I was mentioning. It's 1,200 square feet. She came to our office as a 9-month pregnant lady, and she had the baby full, almost grown, and she was begging, "Sir, can you design a house for me?" I told her I will be happy to, but how many months pregnant you are? She said 9 months. Kindly go home. After delivery, you come. And we built a house for her. That's a most people. Both are IT professionals. She works in the daytime and he works in the nighttime. So the child will be alone with an elderly mom. So we made a fortress so that that area is little remote. So many of my clients are very middle income people. But when you look at the houses, they look beautiful. I didn't make it beautiful, or my team did not make it beautiful. Nature did. I didn't do anything. We just brought sunlight into this. We put some seeds, some plants. Not even many of the clients, they will say they will go to nursery and buy. They may not even have landscape proper, contractor. So their budget, they will say 50,000 is our budget or something like that. I think if you allow God to do the action, You can do beautiful architecture. You don't require much expertise. But allowing him is the most important. Most of our clients are age-wise. My client average age is 24 to 30 because the elders don't like our approach. We want it to be very interactive, or in some cases, the elders, we tell them, this house is for your daughter. Why not your daughter get involved in the house building? Why not your son get involved in the house building? So it's mainly, it's a very, very young people coming and working with us, sharing their ideas, continuously interacting. So they asked, one guy is a movie director. One guy is a movie director. For the curiosity, I'm going to say, one is a cardiologist working 24 hours a day, rarely coming home. He has to de-stress. So for him, we are doing some house. Likewise, one is a Bharatanatyam dancer. I think Suresh House, which you saw with a lot of sculpture. She is a Bharatanatyam dancer, and her daughter, she's an architect and a Bharatanatyam dancer. So all are middle income only. They will have 1 or 2 cars like that, and they are financially little constrained people only, not too lavish people. But right now we are getting very big houses, 25,000, 30,000, 40,000 houses we are getting. But we cherish the one with a lot of challenges. I think architecture really evolves out of challenges. If you have too much also, then there is no challenge. Yeah. I think we are happy with the minimum middle income and upper middle income people. Using landscape, using nature. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So there's one more question which I would like to ask. Since you said about the middle and upper middle class income people using the houses, so do these houses require quite a lot of maintenance because there is quite a lot of detailing for landscape, water elements, the incorporation of the Thinai factors, all those. So.
Yeah, it is a very valid question. It does a lot of maintenance because nature is like a baby. You have to take it. But what we do is, we have the way we showed this gated community people, entire family coming together discussing, bringing the elders into the discussion. So we will say, suppose if I put this garden element, who will make it? Immediately the grandpa will say, I have so much of free time, I will make it. And the grandma will say, I will make it. But we don't recommend that. They can get involved, but the actual maintenance, I will say, we are not doing much charity. Every one of us, we are so concerned about our TV programs, our this, that, all that, everything. But then what happens to the poor people who are, marginalized people? We always say, take one person from a low middle income thing, and if he's got an aptitude for gardening, involve him, so that this money can go to him. He can support his education, or he can support his family. So I always tell everyone, kindly share that money with some low income people, so that they are also, I think they are also become part of your family. Your son or child can become part of this. That uncle Anna will be a trustworthy person. So you don't give it to some Tom, Dick and Harry commercial people. So involve nearby people who can do multitasking. They can do gardening, they can do driving, they can take the children to school or buy things from the shop. So contribute something to society this way. So the tree has to grow. This tree has to grow. Somebody has to put the manure. Somebody has to water it. The watering the old man can do, but then manuring and digging, I think the poor middle income, low middle income person can come and do. So we are combining many people. And we also say, you also use the local materials. Give the thing to somebody from Namakkal or Tiruchengodu. There are a lot of natural stones available. Bring them and give them help. If you don't help them, they will perish. They will go to some unwanted jobs. They will go into the whole 100-year, 1000-year tradition will vanish. So using the local community is a good way to kind of bring the society up also. Yeah, that's one of our thoughts.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we are done with the questions. Jyoti ma'am, would you like to say something?
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful walkthrough presentation from the streets where people were sitting, chatting, reading, and going through the spaces of interiors with different types and color shades of courtyards and traditional elements. And you have actually really understood the people and their pulse, and you have created the spaces. That's what I always feel, sir, and I'm actually really like goosebumps are there, because I really enjoy the spaces in which you have done it. And I think all the students, our students, are really blessed because they also are getting through a great journey with you, and you are such a lovable and a very down to earth person, even though you have won a lot of awards and a lot of government projects and prestigious projects under your this one, but you are very straightforward and talking from your heart, and I think that would have reached to our students in the very essence of it. And they also, because our students are also has been tuned extremely well by our Dean Nandan Balsava sir into historical and traditional, and that is how the Savita College of Architecture and Design itself is going into. And even our students have visited Dakshin Chitra, Kanchipuram, Mahabalipuram, and all the traditional elements. And sir has a very innovative way of teaching history and design, sir. Because many times, if you feel like the design is a separate subject and history is altogether kind of a theoretical subject, in many schools handle in that way. Here, actually, all the courses we try to integrate together and make it as one kind of a package to students, including the community, the people, the working together and their habits. So all also has to come into the design essence. So that is why the history also has been given very importance, and how people have lived in that space and how people have used that space, and why that is how the space has been created in that way. And in the modern contemporary way, how we'll be able to recreate that kind of a spaces. And you explained it extremely well with a space where actually speaking, it's not like a rooms and no partitions, where it will become suddenly one bedroom, suddenly it become a dining area, suddenly it will become a play area, multi-space areas and multi-activity spaces, and we accommodate everybody. Right now, initially, even though it was a small house, even I remember in my traditional house, we used to accommodate everyone. Now, even if one guest comes in over here, it is actually really thinking over where to accommodate, whether they will go, whether they'll stay, how many days they will stay, and how far we have to adjust with them for days together. So those thinking process will never ever happen in a traditional house where we don't have any bedroom. So all of us will share, all of us will roll around and we will be playing, and whole night we'll be talking continuously. So if the walls were there, if the rooms were there, everyone would have been looked out and everybody would have been introvert. That is why that societal attachment towards the cousins, grandmother, grandparents, all that is also very important. Traditional family with the sense of attachment also has the elements. So both together, it's a very beautiful explanation by you, sir. I really enjoyed. And every time I enjoy a lot, and every presentation is very inspiring to me. And I also feel that we also have to do a lot of things, and with your blessings and help, and with our dean's support, and with our students' enthusiasm, I think we will also create very beautiful spaces and better spaces, and they will also spread the knowledge and the essence of your sense to the entire world, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot. And it is from my heart. I am telling that
Thank you.
be
Thank you.
doing good projects, and let God give you good health and long life, and support so many students and so many people in the construction industry as well as in the design
Thank you, Professor.
industry, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
Thank you.
So over to you, students. You have any doubts, please feel free to ask to sir.
எந்த லாங்குவேஜ்ல வேணா கேட்கலாம், தமிழ்ல கேட்கலாம்,
Tamil கேட்கலாம்,
தமிழ்,
correct.
ஹிந்தியில
No
கேட்கலாம்,
language
தெலுங்குல,
barrier.
மலையாளம்.
No, that's how
Malayalam
in our school, that's how the studio runs. Any language, anyone can ask, including they ask in Bengali, they're asking in Malayalam,
Very good.
any language. That is how we have
Yeah.
kept it. And yeah, even the English class, they can speak in any language, all the classes. Yes. So that's a rule we have kept.
Fantastic. No, I am jealous of Savita College because Durganand sir, the person I admire. Not now. I know sir so many years. Even during his Trichy assignments, we were together, and so many times. Even before that, I think 2005, that tsunami housing time itself, we were all knowing and talking. He's so knowledgeable, very humble. You can talk to him. He's such an international level person, but he doesn't show it like that. So you are all fortunate, and I'm jealous. Only thing, if I'm not practicing, I will become teacher working with all of you with Professor Durganand sir. I always admire Professor Durganand sir.
No, we will definitely look forward to this, because one part of the talk series is so that the students are getting a broader view of what are the different types of practices happening. And I think the questions you have raised today are very important, that need to be raised in any practice. And I think breaking of the wall, or how this accommodating this new kind, because I think today's world, so much change is happening that the home has become the city. Because we're in lockdown, we don't realize today the home is the city. In the past, we were all in the city and the home used to be empty in the day. Today, the city is empty and the homes are completely with people. We don't realize that it is a total inversion. In that inversion, I think the questions you're raising on multifunctional, how these relationships are happening, those should become important aspects in a studio. That in a design studio, otherwise in a design studio, we're saying housing, and straight away, as you rightly said, 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, we're straight away jumping into the name of the room without knowing why the room has to be used. And by using the name of the room, I think we forget how that room will be lived in. How will that room relate to nature? And these are the questions with discussion between practices and educational institutions. Only that way we can. If practices remain isolated or educational institutions remain isolated, these questions cannot be really discovered and discussed. They cannot be only students coming for internship and coming back. I think we have to open it up more. We would invite you for several reviews, and we are quite strong, so you can give us very, very hard critique and we can receive it. We're very strong people. So because then only, I think, as you rightly said, through that argument or critique or looking, because it's not personal, it is on design based, it is based on what possibilities we can have. So thank you very much. And I think the students had raised those questions, and we will continue this further. Maybe there was, from senior architects, I've got messages, why don't we create a panel discussion based on the issues raised today? And I think we will look into that and bring out a panel discussion. Thank you, Dr. Jyoti Lakshmi, for that very good summation of architect Murli's work. Architect Sandhya for comparing this all at short notice, including the invitation to architect Murli at very short notice. And I think 40 or 50 architects with 4 WhatsApp messages in 3 days, the whole program got finalized. And so at very short notice. So thank you very much. And I think this was a very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you all, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dean, sir. Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, students. Thank you, students.
The students are all there, and I think they will raise more questions tomorrow. So we will take it and bring it.
Yeah,
Thank
sir.
you.
We'll continue that.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you.